Welcome, everybody, to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike. Say hello, Joe.
Hello, Joe. What's up, everybody? It's Joe.
And we have a special guest this week.
Yes, we do. We have a very special guest. If you're watching
Mr. We're so low. We're so low tech. We do drum rolls like off my table. Mr. Howard Wallach from Chicago.
Howard Wallach.
Say hello, Howard. Say hello.
Happy to be in Raleigh.
Really? Are you really happy to be in Raleigh? Like, is that a legitimate statement? What are you doing down there?
I'm really.
Yeah. What are you doing down there?
I am hanging out on my way. This is a pit stop on my way to Nashville.
Okay.
Spending some time with Joe, and then I'm going to make my way to Tennessee.
And what are we heading to Nashville for? So I feel like I'm giving you the third degree, but what are we heading to Nashville for?
It's a birthday week for me.
I noticed that. What, a couple days, right? Thursday is your birthday?
Yeah. Many friends. Wednesday. 24th.
Okay. Yeah.
24th.
Wednesday. Well, early happy birthday.
Thank you.
Although early, see, this is where it's confusing because we're recording this on Monday, so Howard's birthday has not happened, but when this lands on Thursday, it will have happened.
That's
so
true.
Did you have a happy birthday, Howard? Speak about your birthday in the past.
I got to tell you, as birthdays go, they're coming and going. I can't even tell anymore.
The greatest? Yeah, I know. At our age, they do tend to speed by. How old are you?
I'm going to say north of 50.
South of 55?
Right in the pocket, baby.
Oh, you're 55 this year.
Right in the pocket.
60. So you were born in 64?
Correct.
Dude, I'm 2 years younger than you, so it's not like there's anything to be. I'm a 66 baby. So you're like
Little did I know this was going to be an expose.
You are like the last year of the baby boomers.
Yes.
Yes, you are. I am an early Gen Xer, and you are the last. And Joe, what year were you born?
71.
So you're a Gen X as well. You're kind of in the sweet spot of Gen X.
Yeah.
And then depending on what chart you see, millennials start in, 80 usually, 80, mid 80s, I think, whatever.
What?
Yeah. Millennials.
What's the end?
So our generation is a short one. Our generation was like mid 60s to 80, and then they were done with us.
And what was the millennials from what?
I think 80. It depends on what chart you look at, but I think 80. So that would make millennials now, what, 30?
Yeah.
Almost approaching 40. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Howard. Thank you for being a guest on our podcast, on our humble little podcast.
Happy to be here.
Are you, I don't mean to put you on a spot like this, and please be 100% honest. Are you a regular listener? Do you usually tune in?
I am not a regular listener, not when it's live. I have checked out short bursts in the past.
Gone back and if a specific topic intrigues you, you'll go back and listen. But most of our ramblings and babblings.
But I'm really proud of the work you guys do. You guys are consistent. You're putting good energy out there. It's really nice to see.
I would agree with that. I don't know if the content week after week is home runs, but we've been doing this for well over 2 years, and not a lot of people can say that. And with consistency, really, Christmas week last year was the only week we didn't drop a new one, and that was just because we felt like taking the holidays off. So thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. Can I use our airwaves before we get to Howard, because I've got a bunch of questions that I know you do too, Joe. Can I use our airwaves to ask our listeners for a quick favor?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. I got my first bad review on Amazon about my new book, On the State in Music. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I've had a number of people through the years say to me, my God, Mike, I got a bad Wedding Wire review. What should I do? My business is going to be ruined. I'm like,
know what you're going to say. But
calm down, take a deep breath. My advice is drown it out. Go be more active than usual. Go talk to your last 12 clients that were thrilled about you and ask them to give a wedding wire, whether wedding wire or not or whatever, a positive review so that you bury that bad review, you drown it out. So I'm going to ask our listeners to do the same thing. If you own my book, and obviously I don't want you to leave a review if you don't own my book, but first of all, if you don't own my book, you should buy my book.
Correct.
But if you own my book, would you please take 5 minutes, and it's probably less than 5 minutes, go on Amazon, search for On This Date in Music. My book should come up right away. And just please leave me a 5-star glowing review so that I can bury that
other one.
That's all. That's all I'm asking.
I have to know what they said, though.
Well, you know what the main thing is? It sounds like it's not somebody I know. So, which is the thrill of being on Amazon, that this book can find a different market than people I know. He said he thought it was going to be a list of just things that happened on every day. In other words, this album was released, this concert happened, this person was born. But it tells me he didn't really read the description as it is as it's described, because that was never the intention of the book. Look at Joe holding up my book. And now he's going to turn to page 4 where I personalized it and autographed it for him. Right? Is that the one I sent you?
Is it always page 4? Wait, maybe listen to the music.
There it is. Joe, listen to the music, Mike, in my horrible chicken scratch. So anyway, that's it. Back to the topic and Howard at hand. But just please take 5 minutes and give me a positive review. I would much appreciate it. Thank you. So welcome, Howard.
Happy to be here.
Tell us about A to Z Entertainment.
Oh, yes. That's what I want to hear.
Humbly started all of this in 1987. So year 32 for A to Z.
Okay.
Chicago multi-op. The emphasis in the early days was, in fact, the mitzvah market. North Chicagoland is a densely Jewish area, not abnormally so, but on the North Shore, there's about 7 suburbs over 2 counties that make up an affluent marketplace where these families, they send their kids to Hebrew school for the culture, the traditions. The children learn how to speak the language. They learn how to pray, and they're rewarded. They're given this date by their synagogue to have the mitzvah. And these families have no bones about making this a big occasion and really making these lavish and stylish. I don't judge these folks, because some of them, you've heard, they're ostentatious and they're doing things to outdo the next family. But in the scheme of things, if I wasn't providing the service for them, someone else would be. I'm always flattered that when the phone rings and someone says, hey, in 28 months, can you hold this date? We definitely want to work with you.
Right.
How does it work? We go to
So take us back to 1987. How did you get into, what made you think about DJing? That's the thing for me.
Well, like many of us, I had a mentor. I had someone that introduced me to special events and performing at live events. I worked for a multi-op. His name was Kerry Wyman. He had a group called Dance Experience. And out of let's call them the 12 big players of Chicagoland, 5 of us came from the Dance Experience world.
Wow. Can you name the other 4? Would you mind listing, or is that? I
don't have any problem listing them. They're good guys. They include on this list Brad Blumenthal of Energy Productions, Jeff Bizarre of Bizarre Entertainment, Lou Loybin of Personalities. That may be the 4.
Okay. All right.
And they're all doing wonderful things. Every one of them has been doing this for 20, 25 years plus. And they got their exposure, their initial inertia from the Dance Experience days. I was closer in age to Kerry, the owner, and he gave me a taste of the nightclub world. And being a nightclub DJ was where I got all of my moxie, all of my confidence to work a room. In fact, before I was even 21, I was doing political fundraisers and fashion shows and amateur boxing nights, things that toughen you up as things are unfolding live. And I was so enamored with the problem solving and the minute-to-minute decisions. Mitzvahs were a very natural transition because of the immense expectations on navigating through all the different demographics. You may or may not agree with me, but I think that doing mitzvahs has set me up to be kind of a PhD of DJing, because everything else is easy. From weddings,
I've heard many mitzvah DJs say that after you master the mitzvah, everything else is easier. And I can definitely see why, because it's been years since I did a mitzvah, but everything comes at you so much quicker than any other type of event. And once you can handle all that, then when you get into a corporate party, or let's face it, sometimes even a wedding, because weddings have structure, and for the most part, it's filled with adults. And the X factor with mitzvahs is the 13-year-olds who, they care a lot less about structure than they do about what's going on in this moment.
And we're also
I think there's something to be said for that.
We're also dealing with shorter and shorter attention spans.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So you're talking about the mitzvah business in the late 80s. Have you seen it evolved, or is it pretty much the same as when you left that company?
Oh, no, it's a big business now. There's the interactive staff, which was not always their case.
Okay.
There's amazing amounts of production. We're bringing drape, we're bringing light up stage, we're bringing video screens. We often have a light tech running DMX live in the moment on, it's not pre-programmed scenes. It's,
right.
Choreographing the songs. It's big business. And as this evolved, just like weddings, these families started relying on us to be a solution, asking us to, hey, we would like to do a montage. Can you help us produce that? Can you help show it? We're doing photo booth, all the things that from weddings. It's not just uplighting. We have a feature called the cocktail hour. The preamble to the event, the idea is that the parents are hanging around in one part of the country club and the kids in another. Sometimes they come into the reception of the ballroom, but often there's a holding area for both, so that the doors can be open to
right.
The experiences for everybody.
Right.
So in that case, we fill up the cocktail hour with entertainment. I championed in my earliest of days the live game show. So I have a whole separate name called the Game Show People that I market independently of A to Z Entertainment. And that's a whole different topic of edutainment and getting into the corporate world and traveling and trade shows, different beast. But it was born, again, out of micromanaging children so that they wouldn't explore and misbehave in a facility, that we would keep them captive, set the tone for what would be the rest of the night. You're going to listen to our staff.
Right.
You're going to do what we say, and that's the way it goes.
So you mentioned staff and people a few times here. So walk me through, when you leave this company, is it just you? I assume initially A to Z was just Howard, or not?
In the first 4 years, it was just me. I did take on a partner who, ironically, his name was Howard.
Okay,
Howard
that's confusing.
Coleman.
I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have had a partner named Mike. I think it's just too confusing.
Yeah.
I would have forced one of us would have changed their name.
He ultimately left the business 7 years ago.
Okay.
But for 25 years, we were partners and brothers 7 days a week.
Wow.
Dealing with all the minutia of running a big business. And in our heyday, I'm going to call it from 94 to 04, there was a lot less competition. I hadn't given birth to my own competitors yet. And in those days, there were 5 of us that were full-time. I had a warehouse manager, my business partner, and 2 gals full-time running customer service and QuickBooks. We divided responsibilities. So the financial piece, someone was doing payroll, and someone was, and doing the QuickBooks and managing affairs with our accountant. And then my right hand in customer service, I to this day, like you, Joe, I'm the rainmaker, I'm the closer, but I need someone to see through the paperwork and the return phone calls and being responsible. So when I travel to Raleigh, there's someone handling, the emails, et cetera.
My Randy B, basically.
Basically, right. So I've heard you speak about this, Howard, and I'm extremely impressed at the rapport that you have with your current staff. Can you speak to that and maybe give our listeners a tip or two about how you have such great camaraderie and yet it seems like you're also able to manage, because that's always the balancing act. If you get too friendly, then it's impossible to manage, and if you're too much of a heavy-handed boss, then nobody likes you and they'll look to leave. How do you balance those two things?
Well, I have to say a couple of things. In 2019, my model and style of management is considerably different than it was 8 years ago, 16 years ago.
Is that because of the generation that you're currently
That's right.
managing? Okay, so you and I both agree with that we've had to change our style to kind of deal with and relate to millennials, and I have no problem with that. I know some people who are freak out about that reality. To me, it is what it is.
Now, Joe and I were talking about this at lunch. One of the challenges I have about leading these young folks is that I am often, as their booking agent, promoting and selling them well into the future, 18, 22, 28 months out for a bar mitzvah. And these families are enamored with the MC. They're convinced that their day is made or broken by this charismatic dynamo who's going to electrify the room. So they're focused on that. I will defocus them on who their specific DJ is or who the specific dancers are. Now, there's a world of philosophy on this. Do you sell dancers 2 years out or not? I do not. They're warm bodies, and I say to the families, let me advocate for you. Let me fill in those blanks. Who works best with who? And I also have a management style where I say, look, if the dancers don't attend our rehearsals, where we're doing conditioning and choreo, I'm not going to be comfortable putting them on a party 2 weeks from now. So I said, please let me pick the dancers. They'll say, well,
and for the most part, your clients are good with that. They put their faith in you.
It's training. It's massaging through the earliest stages of how you have a relationship and your rapport with these clients, just like weddings. You set the tone. I don't field phone calls on 11 o'clock at night anymore. This is when we can talk. So you get it. The dancers, I will say, hey, look, they're flattered. When you were requesting a dancer, believe me, I want to put them on there for you, but I can't predict this one got tickets to Hamilton, this one's grandma's in the hospital, this one's cousin is getting married. So I just say, look, in all reality, let me work my magic. Let me advocate for you and put the very best team together closer to the event. And for the most part, they're good with that. Now, specifically, with my MCs and my DJs, while they are all employees, I have been much softer, and this is the controversial part, about them being exclusive to my brand. So because the barrier to entry is gone, anybody can buy gear online or attend a conference and get all the pieces of the pie for relatively cheap. For under 10 grand, you're in business, right?
Right.
Evolves, the control. Okay. So many of my guys at this point in their career enjoy, my dad's fraternity brother has a backyard party. My neighbor's doing a quinceañera, this. So rather than saying, you have to do it through A to Z, you have to go through me, I have been much softer. And now I'm almost the polar opposite. I'm saying I champion them. I don't want them lying. I don't want them doing it behind my back because they're posting on social media. I like their posts. I'm congratulating them. I'm saying good deal. But where I draw the line are the bar and bat mitzvahs. That is where we are unified.
All right. So I was going to ask you that question because it seems to me then you'd be competing against yourself. But so in other words, if I give me the name of one of your MCs.
Sure. Gabriel Lozano. We all refer to him as Real.
If I'm a mitzvah family and I've seen Real at past events and I want him for a mitzvah, I can call Real directly and say, Real, we want to book you. And he's going to say to me, you got to go through A to Z.
That is correct.
If I say, hey, we're having a little pool party, Real, we'd like you for next Sunday. And he's like, I'm open. I'll do it. He can throw out a price. Okay. All right. That's an interesting take on it. I disagree with that. The only time I kind of let my DJs do their own thing is in the club world. If they want to go spin in a bar or a club, I want nothing to do with it. But any type of private party, I want to have go through the elite entertainment.
Let me give a very crystal reason. So the mom calls for Real, or calls, and I promote Real. This is in October of 2021. Now she sees him at the school dance, the park district, the pool party. There's now a rapport between the little girl and the MC. She's so excited, deadlocked, focused on him. He goes and does a wedding, and I say, oh, man, you should have done that to A to Z.
Right.
He does 7 of them, and I get pissed off, and I say, all right, I'm letting you go. Right. Now, multiply that family times 12 or times 20 or times 40, and I have to make an ugly phone call to all those families saying, I've pulled this person. I would rather not. I am totally okay.
Howard, I totally get the worst. I totally get the worst case scenario of having to let somebody go. Totally get it. Let me ask you this. Does Real or anyone else on your staff, do they have their own website where they market themselves?
That is an evolution that is inevitable.
Okay. And same thing with, social media, it's freaking easy as hell. So in other words, Real can be promoting himself on social.
This particular cat co-brands. So when he's not working for me, he's also on the Chicago Bulls organization. You know, those guys that launch the shirts into the crowd.
Yeah, sure.
So he will post his own company. He will post the Bulls, and he will actively post A to Z. So he's loyal to the tribe that he's a part of. He's not dastardly. He's not doing things behind my back. I don't have a problem giving his cell phone to a client. These relationships, as you know, because you've written the book, begin at the stage of hiring someone. We are looking for people with good character, with integrity. You know, I know we'll agree on this. When I'm sitting down with a new person and I hear their story, how they are as a son, as a brother, as a boyfriend, means a lot to me. When I'm listening very carefully when I'm interviewing someone, how they, did they get to the appointment early? What questions they're asking me are meaningful. So there is a certain degree of, you let the bad fall out and the cream rises to the top. So over time, like Real's been with me, I think 12 years.
Jeez. It's great. So, that kind of longevity is hard to come by.
A lot of it has to do with seeing a guy like that and saying, let's make this a win-win. A to Z is not your life, but it's a part of your success. So treat it as such. Make this, anything you attach your name to, be 110%.
Right. So Howard, it's clear to me that we could talk for another half hour. Are you cool sticking around, and can we get 2 episodes out of this?
I would be delighted, Mr. Walton.
Great.
You got me.
So before we end this one, I know you share a passion for travel, as I do. Matter of fact, I think you put me to shame. So I want you to answer these 2 questions. What's the greatest place you've ever been to? And what's next up on your bucket list? Like, what's the dream location that you haven't been to yet?
I am one of the lucky ones. I have prioritized.
No, I'm going to stop you right there. You're not lucky. You're not lucky. It's a priority that you've made in your life. You didn't like wake up one day and go, oh, look, I want a ticket to go here. You prioritize it. So forget about luck. It's something that you focus on.
I have thoughtfully managed my life so that having experiences over
much better.
My personality. Okay. I have been all over from Israel to Canada, but if I had to zero in on my favorites, I'm a big fan of the Far East. I've been to Hong Kong 3 times. I really, really like Singapore. I was recently in Thailand, but if I had to say probably right now my favorite that I've been to, that would be the Philippines.
Okay.
That's another conversation. I had a wonderful set of days there for almost 2 weeks where every day was an adventure, an eye-opener. I saw everything from extreme poverty to amazing opulence. I had hiking and biking and on the water and swimming with sharks. I mean, just so many things. It was explosive. When I left, I was almost crying. Like, I can't believe I want to come back. So I actually am going to have a short visit this coming January. I'm treating myself to the island of Bali, in Indonesia, but I'm going on my way there. I'll stopping through Manila. That'll be 36 hours, then 15 days in Bali, and I have lots to say about that. And then when I conclude, I'm joining my friend in Singapore on my way home. So it's a nice.
Is Bali your second answer? That's the place that you haven't been that you're dying to go to?
Bali that's my second answer. Bali is where I'm headed next. I will grind through that fourth quarter. You know,
with knowing that that's on the horizon. I
will get it done so I can enjoy myself. Tell
our listeners how they can follow you on social.
I am currently on both Facebook and Instagram. I have a mild startup on Pinterest, but I'm not on Twitter. It's AZ Entertainment, all one string of letters. On the web, it's azentertainment.com. Chicago-based, known to do a little traveling.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, Howard, thank you so much for being on. Joe, I'm sorry you didn't get a word in. I was.
Hey, I got my stuff written down for the next episode. Thank you guys for listening.
Right.
Appreciate it.